What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republics off the air immediately following NXT. This is going to be a fun one. I've got the usual crew with me. First and foremost, let me toss this one out to the DMV on show number 3, but get your twos up for the Tuesday Night Delight. It's Shoddy. What's good?
What's going on, bro? Yeah, the 3 shows today. Y'all saw me on the daily broadcast with Chaos and Jordy. Followed by that, we filmed the episode and take it to the table that will be dropping tomorrow. Shameless plug. Also support the bro Chaos, and then we here now, man. So when the hardest working mother is out there. I was about to curse. My bad.
That was really close. That was a nice catch.
Ooh, I'm here. Just give it a Dryzzy before I curse.
No worries. It's good to have you as always, Shad. But obviously, it's not a Tuesday night without the guy you should do. What is it again, Driz, out in Louisville?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in, working with the hardest guy to the guy who works the absolute least in WR. All jokes. I work 24 hours around the clock. I am the local Twitter fingers for Wrestling Republic. This show. Ooh, child. NXT has this bad habit of having not putting the best foot forward on big shows, and with them going to a whole new network, it doesn't seem to change anytime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really, really interesting that you say that. We got a comment here from DC Warlord, that was an epic end of a show for NXT on
Whoa, hold
USA.
on. Put his other comment. Is that a Joe Hendry like?
I think it was a Joe Hendry emoji, which is actually that's pretty impressive.
Dang, how you do that, DC Warlord? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like that's slick to say the very least. We've got unrealized thoughts over on Instagram with "Hey guys." After that last segment, a lot of thoughts, and yeah, some of them are unrealized. That's actually a great call.
I hope you realize your thoughts are thoughts that need to be realized.
We realize all.
Don't hold your thoughts to such a low point, man. They need to be realized, and they matter. All right. So after today's episode, change your handle to realized thoughts,
or just thoughts.
What
about just thoughts?
Yeah, it'd be a thoughtful thing to do.
Real simple. It could be a good one. He even laughed at that. Respect. I love that. Okay. Speaking of realizing thoughts, let's give our thoughts on that closing segment, the last one ever on USA. We've got Julia, we've got Roxanne, we've got Funaki in there. I think it was a thank you, Driz. I was hoping for one of those. That one definitely a bit of a slow start when it comes to the closing segment.
Mm-hmm.
Finished with a house of fire, and that house of fire being Stephanie Vauquer making her debut as the final send-off on USA. I dug it. I definitely think this was the best they could do to make this segment as impactful as possible, and it was a buzzer beater, but it was nothing but net. Driz, I'm going to go to you first. What were your thoughts on it? Stephanie Vauquer waiting in the wings. It does take a little bit of the steam out of the Julia and Roxanne match, but I don't know how much. I like the idea of these three sort of looking like the future of the top of the card when it comes to the NXT women's division as far as this move to the CW is concerned, and I want to get your thoughts on it.
It seems to be almost a double-edged sword at this point in time. Yes, you have the top women in probably the number 1 and 2 women in international wrestling coming to NXT and being the next challengers for the NXT championship. The double-edged sword part of it is now you have a bit of a bloated top of the card for the women's title. And I can't see neither of these 3 women, we're going to include Roxanne in this, anywhere away from the women's title at this point in time. So it's good and bad. I feel like we're going to have to either pick up the rest of the division that really they do a great job of catching up, but they're going to have to get to the curb a little bit faster now with Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, other names that have been rumored to be coming, who that may come. NXT is the spot. It's I've been saying it for weeks now, and I also heard it on the show today. The best division in wrestling is the NXT women's division. I hope yeah, I better not see nobody on the internet saying, yeah, I've been saying that for I have been saying that for months now. This division is it's what every company is looking for. They want their division to be this stacked. This is a 20 deep women's division with women coming up. Level Up, I just seen two more that very well will be on TV as soon as they get to the CW. This division is absolutely amazing.
I'm in agreement that it's got the most depth, I think, of any major promotion in wrestling. But while you were saying that, Drizzy, I was thinking about the final segment, and my mind was like, wait, what? So Julia mentioned that she's loved her move to America, and on the last episode of NXT on USA Network, we know SmackDown is going to USA Network. For Julia, the international superstar who has now moved over, there were USA chants during the final segment. Now, it wasn't for the network, but the irony was not lost upon me. It is wild. Is it foreshadowing a move to SmackDown for Julia? I don't know. USA had to be smiling at that one.
I'm sure USA.
Is that a tinfoil dad cap you got on,
yes,
buddy?
I'm putting on the tinfoil hat right now. Seriously, I'm like, wait a minute. The crowd chanted USA for Julia in the final segment of NXT on USA. Even if it's a coincidence, Shad, what are the odds?
No, that is just Americans being Americans because they want to chant USA in regards to anything an international or foreign talent does because for some odd reason it's like wearing your red, white, and blue undies and stuff like that, like sipping on a Coors Light.
Everybody goes,
but no, your idea makes more sense. My bad.
No, here's all I'm saying is like, at least the network execs at USA had to be smirking. Like, what are the odds? Like, it's the last segment ever on USA Network for NXT. Yeah. And Julia, the non-American in the ring, gets the crowd to chant the name of the network.
Clip it for promotional purposes. Whoever, just do it, man. Make it a commercial.
All right, I'll go talk to my good friends at USA. You know, we're like this now.
It couldn't have been intentional, but it is the coincidence of the century. It kind of cracked me up the more I thought of it. I'm like, there's no way. Like, how did that work out like that? I did not have that on my bingo card, but Shad, obviously, before we do move on, I got to ask you about it. Stephanie Vaquer debut, huge deal.
Yes.
I mean, is she the next champion? Is Julia the next champion? Are we going to see triple threat action down the line? How does this all play out?
First and foremost, let's give a big shout outs to our CEO, who had a classic match with Stephanie Vaquer. A prime reason why Stephanie Vaquer was on the map in the United States to fans. Let's give our CEO, her acknowledgement for that, because without our CEO, we want to be able to live in this amazing world that we live in. So, hi Mercedes Monet. Jokes aside though, man, this was a definite shocker. Obviously, we know that Stephanie Vaquer did sign with the WWE and that she was going to make her way to NXT from the house shows that she did in Mexico. The announcements they made on Twitter per Shawn Michaels. It's just kind of a waiting game to see when she was going to come. Tonight being it was a bit of a shocker. Like y'all said, it was a awkward press conference between Roxanne and Julia, and an awkward press conference throughout the show with the backstage stuff. It just felt weird. I don't know if it's not a real press conference, you can't get me as intrigued just because it's a scripted press conference. It just doesn't hit the same to me. I don't know. But needless to say, I mean, it was it's one of those cases where they're trying to build it up to the match. Um, I don't necessarily need all of that. You sold me a ticket once Julia came out and looked Roxanne in the eyes because I'm just injected in my veins off of the lone fact that these two are going to put on the certified banger, classic, clinic, all of that. But Stephanie adding to, kind of calling her shot has me intrigued because what Drizzy said is that he used the word bloated, right? Because there's a lot of women in the roster and stuff like that. I get that too, and I don't necessarily disagree, but I also think that we can cut it slack because there's two titles allocated in there. I was under the assumption maybe she, and maybe she could still do it, go for the North American Women's Championship, maybe be competition for Kalani. Um, and maybe we will get to that at some point, but just the image of these three women, kind of ending off the show, if you're not excited for it as a wrestling fan, I don't know what you're doing because it's just one of those cases where WWE and NXT, took out the wallet and they spent money on coveting like superstars, like legitimate superstars, and two women's wrestlers who are cream of the crop, top of the notch, like just superstars in general. And it's one of those situations where it is a investment for the long term because these are cogs that are going to help run the machine for the women's division on a Raw, on a SmackDown, per what you were saying, right? Once they get an opportunity to go to USA Network before NXT, because I think people fail to realize sometimes is, yes, in theory this is a development brand, but this is still a television show at the end of the day. We're rolling out the red carpets in the arena for the CW premiere next week. You want CW to be happy about the weekly product, and they've done a phenomenal job with the weekly product, especially with developing young talent. But you want to have notable star names that are going to draw people to want to watch it. And I think of Stephanie, Julia, and on top of the best women's wrestler in 2024, Roxanne Perez, is going to have fans just glued to their TV screens of what can be built on that, because I'm taking those three above a lot of other active women's rosters at the current juncture at time off of just what they
Yeah.
can do in ring. So yeah.
Well, and to both of you guys' point, and we've all kind of said it. Drizzy, you said it. Shad, you said it. Even I've said it. The depth of this division is unmatched in wrestling, and you've now added two legit superstars in Julia and Stephanie Vauquer to the top end of the division, and the depth is still there.
Yeah.
You still got Kalani Jordan. You still got Jada Parker, Lola Vice, all of these names down the card. Sol Ruka, like it doesn't stop.
I've been asking for a couple of years now. I think we're at a point where I think the NXT women could have their own show and do just fine.
Oh, I would agree.
Definitely could. But they need to. But to that point, I'm looking at Raw, I'm looking at SmackDown, and I'm seeing it thin in some ways. I think we do need to have a call-up session at some point and try to implement and create some superstars for the shows because, a Liv Morgan or a Rhea Ripley, whoever wins that Bad Blood, they're earning for some good competition. SmackDown, they don't have as many young stars. And then we're talking about the women's tag team belts that I think is starting to take forward progress with the booking and stuff like that. There's a lot of pairs on NXT that could, do good with being called up, like Jakara and Lash Legend. If you develop the Xing Xing girls is what they've been called today, which is a god awful name. Yeah, my wife is like Xing Xing Squad. Why is that their name? I was like, she's got a sword. She's like, that's horrible.
The other one doesn't have a sword. Brilliant Reese doesn't have a sword. Like, come on, y'all. Come on. we can go ahead and recycle. What was it that they were calling Mandy and Dana? Call them the Blonde Bombers or something. Just something different.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
we don't have to be this skin deep. Like, come on, guys.
yeah. The Babe and the Blade. I mean, like something.
Babe and Blade is cool.
Babe and Blade.
Baby Blade, like Beyblade,
Yeah,
Beyblade.
yeah. Like there's something. I don't know. It's like
They don't work as a that. We're not talking about that match. It didn't make the
no.
cut, unfortunately. But that is like just because they're blonde don't mean they gotta be a team.
Yeah, it's true. Okay,
It's true.
let's stay in the
Well,
women's division though. Let's talk Kalani Jordan and Ren Sinclair.
Yes.
Because Ren Sinclair got like a way bigger reaction. We talked about it before this show while we were
Mhm.
watching the actual show than I expected. Shad, talk to me about this one. I mean, Kalani obviously doing a heck of a job as champion and everything, but it's like, Ren looked really good tonight.
Yeah, well, first let me give props to our NXT North American Women's Champion Kalani Jordan because she is the epitome of a workhorse TV champ. That's what she's doing. She comes in, clocks in, gives you a good match, clocks out, looks like a star that she is, and that is what she did tonight. You're seeing the moveset develop. You see the athleticism. You're seeing a bit of that Rob Van Dam sprinkle that she always be talking about as her influence. I'm seeing it more and more, and I think she's definitely honing in and improving into her craft. So big ups to her. I love seeing her continue to get title reigns and build up to whatever her next big time feud or match may be. Ren Sinclair is someone that I have loved the direction of booking for. She's someone that obviously I've seen in the independents prior to WWE NXT, on NWA, and she's got a sense of charisma, humor, and personality, and she's got an ability to wrestle, well enough. But it's the fact that in the WWE, it don't matter how good you wrestle at standpoints. It doesn't matter what makes you stick out. And that charisma and that infectious, like funny personality is what the crowd likes because the dynamic that we have with her and the No Quarter Catch crew is really, really good. It's a good sense of like lighthearted comedy, the woman being added to it, being added to it, not how she should be off of some funny business, and it's working, it's clicking, and as you can see, it's giving her something to do. And I don't have any problems with women being paired in a mostly men faction because it does kind of help them out in the standpoint. We're seeing it with Rizzo, it's helped her out a lot. We see what Maxine Dupree on Raw, like Zelina prior to like the LWO stuff, obviously, and other stuff. So it's giving her something to do. It's helping her build within the storyline. And sooner or later, she's gonna be another focal point to what she could do. I don't, maybe one day she could be a champion. I'm not sure, but I could definitely see her have a long-lasting role in the business. Right? You look at a person like a Chelsea Green, like that aspect of being able to get in where you fit in. That's gonna give you a longevity in your career. So I think she's starting to figure it out. And all in all, I liked it.
Yeah, I think so too. And Purchase said he just wants to see Kalani have a solid feud before the reign ends. I mean, I think it's gonna happen. I think she's been.
No, I actually
Yeah,
agree with Perk on that too because that is kind of the one thing that has held the title reign a little bit
but
just
it's supposed to
because
be the
it
open
does.
challenge. I feel like that's holding it back more than like
It
right.
is an open challenge, but her one actual storyline feud was the Wendy Chu one, which was
kind of
whatever,
tied.
right?
That feud was kind of tied up with TNA at the exact. It's like almost they were doing the exact same thing in TNA with Jordan Grace at the exact same time, and I think
Yeah,
that's why that kind of got
They
overshadowed.
if for her sake, if we're going towards maybe her eventually losing the title to a I don't know a Jada Parker or a Stephanie or a Julia, whoever it may be down the road, she is owed one good feud to tie it off. And if it's
yeah,
not somebody, I would pull somebody even from the main roster, man. Like I always say this. And I've been saying it because I did the SmackDown joint a few weeks ago. I would have had Bailey or Naomi lose that match last week, and I would have had one of them trying to find Either eventually one of them going to Raw, but doing a little quick excursion in NXT. You can't tell me that Naomi or Bailey versus Kalani wouldn't have been fire.
That would have been fun as could be. I'm all over that. I think it's a really good idea, 100%.
I
Yeah.
actually think this would probably be her. Kalani and Ren Sinclair can be a really good feud.
It could be.
It's funny because Ren Sinclair is the little sister that Charlie Dempsey never asked for, and she sat there and got him that what we call that thing, the Heritage Cup match.
Yep.
Let's go down a route where Dempsey is trying to repay the favor by getting her a women's North America title match, and just setting up different. We can make that into a feud.
Or they could try to rehash her. And so I don't know what. Like Soul ain't been doing nothing for a little bit. I need to see my girl Soul.
I really feel that they're keeping Soul off TV because there's a possibility she maybe she's going up. Maybe they just want to save her for CW because she is a draw. It's a possible one of those two things.
Either or. Coach 23 over on Instagram added, I feel that if Kalani does have a program or feud, it's a sign of her losing the title. That's a good concern, I would say, because that is the one thing that, it's kind of like if she does finally get into like a deep rivalry program, it's like the change in pattern that is a little bit of a giveaway that her time as champion has come to an end. But either way, I'm in agreement that is the best direction. Have her continue to make these defenses, but then eventually lead to like a legit long-term feud / rivalry. Whether that's how she loses the title or not, that would be at least the way that I would book it if I had the pencil, for lack of a better way to put it. But let's talk about Ridge Holland and Riley Osborne. All necks were safe in this match, Drizzy, but
come on, bro. Wow, dog, that's crazy.
Shit, we're going to hell.
Oops. Did I say that?
Wow. Okay, so let me compose myself. Ridge Holland has figured it out. This is what his original stint in NXT should have been. I'm appreciative that he was able to go back and figure out how to truly be a heel wrestler. Like, it's like his initial stint in Black and Gold, he was there for a cup of coffee. Vince McMahon popped a boner for him and put him to the main roster. And then he was just kind of left floundering. Now he's in NXT. They gave him a really good story with guys who could help him. This feud with Chase U has been the most captivating thing he's done in a long time. And I feel like it's almost reintroduced us to who Ridge Holland is. He's a monster now. He should have been a monster to begin with, but he has figured it out now, and I'm happy that he's figured it out. This means now that he's going to be I'm going to call it the Baron Corbin Award, because Baron Corbin came back to NXT revitalized before he went back to the main roster. We're going to do it this year now with Ridge Holland, which they've done a great job with. And at the exact same time as they have taken out Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, they have given Riley Osborne, who has been sitting on the sidelines for a lot of this year, ever since the breakout tournament, really. I can't remember if anything significant he's done. They gave him the fight. And he did not go out like Duke, and he did not go out like Andre Chase. He took the fight to Ridge Holland, and he is going to be a big star. Definitely going to be one of the challengers for the North American title once Obafemi decides he doesn't want to be champion anymore. And I'm really just excited to see where this goes, because they're definitely going to run this back. Ridge Holland did not injure Riley like he did Andre Chase and Duke Hudson. We got to give me a street fight now. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to give me a street fight. But this was Ridge Holland's best match. It brought us back to why we liked Riley Osborne and why he was the finalist in the breakout tournament. Great job with this.
And in all seriousness, as much as I was joking earlier, I agree. Ridge has come a long way and looks great. The character is working. The way that they've actually played into that, like, I was absolutely joking with what I said when it came to the neck thing. I like, he has come a long way and is running out of weeks. I can make that joke.
it almost feels like they went like, "Hey, go back look in Triple H's notes. What were they doing with him?
Yeah,
That's way better than what the main roster was doing. Let's just do this."
I agree.
Got the gasoline for you in the pits of hell, bro. Don't worry.
No. Everyone knew I was joking. Okay, let's talk about not joking and people that cursed on television. I mean,
Shad?
commentators had to apologize about it. We had Wesley, two separate names, not Wesley. It's Wesley, to be clear, and Zach Wentz and their face off. They really used to like each other. Very clearly do not anymore. Not friends anymore. Friendship over. This is going to be a war. Is it not? Drizzy, I'll go to you first. Shotty, I'll go to you next. Drizz. I mean, Wesley and Zach Wentz. This has got to be the final blow off, right?
I'm hoping it is, but I really don't think it is. I feel like they have to have one last one in TNA. I've been pushing for it for a little bit. This feud is carried out mostly on NXT, but just give them one last TNA match because I feel like it would be fitting to end it where it started. Well, at least for us, where it started, because the Rascals were a thing long before TNA, and these two have been. I feel like this feud has played out a lot more off screen than it has on screen, and I don't know 100% why that might have been a thing, but they've done a good job of trying to keep everybody interested in it. And when people start throwing swear words, everybody's antennas go up like, "Oh!" And to go looking for them in the middle of when you're supposed to be having this one-on-one interview, they're in the same building. You know he's there. I wouldn't sit there and wait for him. Sit there and wait, knowing he's just across the hall. I would have went and looking for him. And who did they say that Zach Wentz's fiance is now? Is it Gigi? It ain't
Gigi Dolan.
Gigi
Yes.
Dolan. Gigi Dolan. I, I mean, we see reason to involve her in the storyline now.
Yep.
I don't. Why not go ahead and do it? That I feel like that would be the thing to push this feud over the top. Right now, it's in contention for a feud of the year. Adding the element of Gigi Dolan to this, then where NXT will have probably the tag team of the year, woman wrestler of the year, and feud of the year. With if you go ahead and add Gigi Dolan into this feud.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm like about to sneeze. So, Shot, I have to toss this to you immediately. And give me 1 second here.
Bleep. Bleep. Bleep, bleep, bleep. 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 That's all I got for you. No, I'm just joking around. You ever watch SpongeBob when they learn like the bad word on the trash can? That's how I felt this promo was. They was just cursing, man. They was calling each other B words and F words, and they was going really like. I felt the aggression. I felt the hatred towards each other, and that's what I like to see, man. I like that element to it. And I like that Wesley was about business. He said, "Oh, he coming around here, bet say less," and they just running in, scrapping. I think this has been a very well built feud. I think when you add the dynamic that they used to be, group mates, used to be a tag team, and they real life brothers at the end of the day. And we're going it to being a personal like blood feud type of situation. Yeah, this has definitely been built up super well. And if I'm looking at it, I can definitely see what you were saying, Drizzy, in regards to it may be blown off on TNA. Truth be told, it would make sense because that is their stomping grounds. But in the stratosphere of it being NXT, I think this can be a great opportunity for Wesley's heel character to just elevate. If he, wins a critical, crucial street fight next week against Zach Wentz, it really puts him to the last, limbs of whatever he may be able to do, walk, whatever it may be. That's going to make you have empathy for Zach, but that's really going to make you look at Wesley as a just serial just monster when it comes to character work and what we're doing with the heel stuff. The tidbit about, Gigi being mentioned in it, hey man, it always hits well when you talk about someone's lady, man. This is the Drew McIntyre special, what he's been doing with Mr. Phil Brooks. So I do appreciate that. Gigi, we hope to see you back on TV soon, of course. You know, the world is always a great place when Gigi Dolan is wrestling on our television screens. And it could be an interesting way to bring her back into a storyline, of course. But I wouldn't even mind seeing Gigi run a little rec out on TNA in the knockouts too. I think she could kind of do some work over there as well. But
Yep.
I mean, that's neither here or there. I am stoked for this match. I think this is going to be a great one. Again, the first one was freaking phenomenal. I don't think this one will fall short of that.
Yeah, it's definitely they're not friends anymore, and it's going to be another fight. I think, no doubt about it. Trey Miguel, we haven't even mentioned, still out there in some ways, like involved in this.
I still want that triple threat between the Rascals, man.
Yeah, be really cool. I think if that's the route that they eventually went. Also, by the way, big ups for saving me on that sneeze. That would have been a disaster had I not had the chance to mute the mic there, because that was a 3-part equation, my friends. That was a triple threat trio, to say the least. But let's talk about Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander versus A-Town Down Under, not to be confused with A-Town Down and Usher. No Twitter's being deleted. No tweets being deleted in this match this week.
You do the A-Town Stone.
Got him. But theory, not in theory, in reality, wins by A-Town Down. And yeah, they pick up a big victory here, appear to be legit contenders for the NXT tag titles. I don't know if this is a prolonged Austin Theory NXT run. I talked about him on Mailbag Monday briefly yesterday, but I don't know. This is the biggest victory he's picked up in my eyes in months.
Shout outs to Ricochet liking that post, saying that we need to be nice to Theory too. This is having his back.
I haven't been that nice to Theory. It's my fault. I've probably been mean to him when it comes to the internet lifetime, but that's neither here nor there. I've never met the guy. I bet we'd get along great.
He's actually a really nice guy. I've met him.
I bet he's a good dude.
Both of them.
Oh, I'm about to remove Clark from hosting, bro. He be mean to Theory.
No, that's not nice. No. I'm only mean to Theory in theory, right? It's theoretical, so it doesn't count.
That's not a theory. It's a game theory.
It's in theory. Yeah,
but
either way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Coach 23 just kind of, geez, we're too old to remember Ushers. Yeah.
04, man. I was like 12.
Hey. Ludacris, Lil Jon. How could you forget it? Come on. Was it an absolute? I would do the whole Ludacris verse, but, that would probably get the show canceled. Either way. Let's talk about the tag match though, really quickly. I'll go to you first here, Shotty, and then I'll go to you, Driz. Is A-Town Down Under going to win the NXT tag titles?
God, I hope not. I really hope they don't win the tag team titles on NXT. They like doing this whole notion of because we're for some reason teasing the breakup of Axiom and Frazier for quite a while now, and they like to feud with tag teams that are also on the brinks of teasing breaking up too. And this is the ultimate team that they're going about teasing breaking up, because Theory and Waller have been teasing that since the existence of them becoming a tag team. Obviously, we had one of the best talk shows out there, the Grayson Waller Effect, and we get that kind of suited up. But the tag team match between Javon and Cedric, it was solid. I like seeing Cedric Alexander wrestle just in general, because Cedric Alexander is an incredible professional wrestler, and he should be wrestling, because this is what he does. But you get the little screwy finish with A-Town Down Under, getting the win. But in my mind, I feel like this is going to lead it for another team to get those tag titles. And I think this is in position for us to revisit Axiom and Frazier going against Cedric and Javon Evans. Um, I think Javon Evans' first gold very well may be the NXT tag team titles with Cedric Alexander. Just off of the standpoint is I think we're gonna have Oba still be champ for a little bit, and we're gonna have Trick or Ethan Page, whoever wins, continue to be champ. And I think they really do want to strap something on Javon Evans to help him elevate and get to that next level. You add a person like a Cedric Alexander, who is a veteran, who is, been a tag team champion before with the Hurt Business. I think it would be a good opportunity and a good idea. So if I got anything out of the match, is that if I'm Javon Evans, man, I ain't forgetting about what happened tonight. I'm not gonna forget about it. I'm taking notes and I'm kicking ass when I see these guys next time around, because I think that would be the perfect next incumbent tag team champions, Javon Evans and Cedric the Entertainer Alexander.
I like that idea a lot, and I like the idea of Javon and Cedric winning the titles. I'm going to toss basically the same question to Drizzy. Which of these two, if it's these two, or is there someone you see coming out of the woodwork, maybe a Hank and Tank we saw pick up a victory tonight, that are your next NXT tag team champions?
I actually am not too far off from where Shad is with this whole situation. I absolutely do believe that Javon and Cedric are built for this. They're a put together team for this exactly, and it's poetic. It's Cedric is doing what Bobby, MVP, and Shelton did for him to help Javon out, to teach him the ropes that he wasn't taught, and I love it. It's giving back. It's taking the young brother under your arms and like, no, this is how we gonna do this because they ain't got your back. I got your back. Uncle Cedric got your back. So it's like I love it. I think it's a great way to elevate Javon to the next level. Is giving him some tag team go. A Town down under, I believe that story is gonna happen because they've invested so much money in the theory. They're gonna turn on him. They're
Yeah.
waiting to do it. It's good. That is happening. That is a SmackDown issue that is gonna happen probably at the Rumble or something. I don't know. I feel like that's been going on for about a year now, actually, too, because that storyline has been going on for a long time.
They've been teasing a breakup forever. It feels like it's like they like each other, they don't like each other, they do.
Yeah.
They're teaming up, it's going well, they're wearing matching gear, they're not wearing matching gear.
Yeah.
Make up your mind at some point. And I think the idea of maybe a program between those two headed into Mania season, I don't mind. Maybe you pay it off as like a mid card type match on the Rumble,
That may
and
be
then
it.
have the winner of that match enter the Rumble and have a nice run to sort of give them a build, not win it, I don't think, but right, maybe to just bolster them into
I'm gonna
United States
we're gonna
title picture or
we're gonna
something.
do we're gonna do a little bit of a fantasy book for that situation. They need to go ahead and let Grayson Waller turn and beat the living hell out of Theory.
Yeah.
Let him be gone to the Rumble and do the classic returning in the Rumble spot and eliminating them,
Oh, that's
and
a good idea.
then letting it go. Like
I'm
that's
with you there.
perfect. It writes itself at this point. They
I
just
love
gotta
that.
do it.
Okay, before we finish up here, it's been a heck of a run with NXT on USA. Let's do our favorite moments during the NXT on USA era. It's the end of an era tonight.
Yeah.
Driz, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to go right back to you on this one. Your favorite NXT USA moment.
My absolute favorite NXT USA moment was it was back in the black and gold era. We had a absolute it was I don't even want to call it a melee. It was a kerfuffle. It was a kerfuffle between the Undisputed Era and the Velveteen Dream. Roderick Strong on the very first episode of the USA on NXT or NXT on USA Roderick Strong in the Undisputed Era. I don't know what it is about the Undisputed Era when there's more than three, when three of them in one spot, they turn into the Three Stooges out of nowhere, and they cannot be more hapless. But they were able to pull their four minds together in order to get the North American title on Roderick Strong's chest. It took it took all four of them to beat the Velveteen Dream. But that is my absolute. It's just my. I just love they. I don't get it. I really don't get it. These are four of the greatest wrestlers in the past 10, 15 years, and they can't seem to do nothing together. But they were able to pull it together for that.
Absolutely. That's a great pick, Drizzy. All right, Shad, your favorite USA Network NXT moment.
Gosh, this is difficult, man. This is difficult because there's a lot of years to go upon it. But I mean, I did like a lot of that time frame of that year, obviously, especially once it was kind of like the Tuesday Night Wars too. But we know what my favorite moment is, man. It was probably the debut of the greatest women's superstar of all time, the center of the universe,
Uh-oh.
Tiffany Stratton in NXT 2.0, NXT Nickelodeon. When we saw that initial promo with a blonde, you know, back with a Valley girl holding a purse, and when she debuted, it was monumental. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I did like a lot of the early 2.0 stuff. I thought it was fun, lighthearted, a lot of creativity. But of course, it's Tiffany Stratton in every match that she's ever had on the USA Network.
I did not see you going that way. I just knew you were gonna go with Lyra and Becky. Or no, Tiffany and Becky.
I
That
I
they wrestled on the pay-per-view, didn't they?
They wrestled on the show too.
Oh, that one too. That
Becky
was up there as
Becky
well.
originally won the belt on the show.
Oh, you know what? That probably is up there too, though. That was an incredible match.
I knew it would be Stratton related, though. I can't lie. That one I definitely had on my bingo card.
Mhm.
Okay, if it's my turn, though, I'm going to use this not to be a bit of a cop out here, but I'm going to use this to make a request as well. Because my favorite thing about the USA Network era of NXT has to do with a little inside baseball when it comes to this show, Wrestling Off the Air. And that is when NXT on USA Network would end. There's about a 5-minute gap before we go live. And there's a movie on. And it's always a race in the opening credits between me, Driz, and Shad. Usually Drizzy wins. That's neither here nor there. To guess what the movie is. So if the CW comes out and just puts on the same series after every episode of NXT, and that tradition dies with the end of the USA Network era, it was always a great time. I want to say that, but I hope it doesn't. So if anybody in production at the CW is listening, just dig into that movie library immediately following NXT. For us, you only have to play it for 5 minutes. Then you can play the series, but just show us the opening credits. Let us guess. Don't you take that away from me. It's one of my favorite moments of the week every single week. I look forward to it as much as anything. I always look forward to watching NXT. I always look forward to doing this show, and it's a blast. I'm stoked. Headed to the CW era. It's going to be great. Thank you, USA Network. Thank you, NXT.
Man, this gonna be like All American, bro. That's what's gonna come
It's
next.
gonna be
I know,
All
it's gonna
American
end up.
every time. Just like when remember back in the day when Raw would go off immediately after that, it would be Psych. No, for
Psych.
years it was Psych. Before that, it was what was it like La Femme Nikita.
Yep. After that, it was Burn Notice for a long
You
time.
see, like, yeah, you gotta give us something like that now. You got to.
No, they got
Even on Nitro, it was what was the show?
They still show reruns of Smallville.
Yeah, do that. Oh
No,
man,
but it's got to be the guess the movie. I don't want
That's
that
what-
taken away from me.
but that's such a nostalgic thing. That's such a nostalgic wrestling thing. You have to put an old show that people still remember, but they're like,
Yeah.
oh my god, what is it?
It's gonna go like right into 2.5 Men.
I don't even know what's on CW, to be honest with you.
I think
I've never
2.5
watched
Men is on.
Isn't
outside of 2.5 Men,
I just know
Smallville,
All-American.
and All American, I don't know.
Yeah, those are like the big three.
I
Apparently,
stopped watching All
no
American after
NXT.
the second season, bro.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it just got too funky.
The
Yeah.
story's over at this point. They've
It
caught
doesn't
up.
make sense.
It's based off a real guy. He's in the league. I mean,
Yeah, he's actually
He's
in the league.
co-producing the show.
like,
What's next? Are we gonna have him producing the show about him producing the show?
pretty
Oh
much.
my gosh. Coach
He's
23,
not. He's not even that old.
Coach 23 said respect Smallville. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I used to watch
Okay. Either way, with that does bring us to the end of today's Off the Air. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back, same place next week, same time. Obviously, the other show that we'll be covering will be on a different network, but we will be on the same one here at Off the Air. On behalf of me, Shad and Dryzzy, go check out the Spotlight episodes, the Take It that he mentioned. We've got a bunch of good stuff in the works. All of us, if you didn't smash like and subscribe, please do. It helps out a ton. Thank you, everyone that tuned in. Have an excellent Tuesday night. We'll talk to everybody soon.
Peace.